of coin shines, so you guys want to do... What do you guys want to do next? Do you want to do blue coins, or secret shines, or Delfino shines?
Pachinko Town.
You want to go to Pachinko machine now?
Yes.
Alright, let's do it. Gonna have to get it over with eventually.
By the way, I didn't get to say this last time, I don't think, because I wasn't here for that part, but I love that the entrance to Milky Bay, it has you looking up at the sun again, like in, you know, like in the castle in Mario 64. It's a nice little reference.
Well...
Of course, they won't have a transition like that in Odyssey.
No, code box.
You use the ship to go from...
No, I haven't fought the final boss yet. I'm saving that for the end, because that's the 120th shine.
Which means he's going to have to go to the volcano, get the last couple of blue coins, and then talk to those Tanuki guys, then go back to the volcano and fight Bowser.
Oh no, I already got those in the last session.
Oh, you did? Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I got it, yeah, while we were doing, I think... No, I think you were gone by that point, that's probably why you don't know.
Yeah, I was gone before you went to Noki Bay.
Yeah, we did that, when I did the 7th shine in Pianta Village, it unlocked, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just go grab the last of the blue coins and be done with it. Alright, Pachinko time. Well, we're off to a terrific start. There's some kind of weird glitch where, like, when you die in the Pachinko machine, sometimes it will play the bonk noise it makes when Mario jumps into something.
Oh,
oh boy.
Off to a good start already, I just saw you fall out.
Yeah. Alright, got it. So that's one of the more difficult ones already done.
Fun fact, Super Mario Sunshine is the only 3D Mario game where you overpower Bowser or anything resembling Bowser once. Well, if it's anything resembling Bowser, that I think that does count the Mecha Bowser in the park level.
Yeah. And technically, Bowser Jr. resembles Bowser as well.
But in terms of Bowser himself, you know, I'll give him that.
What? Why can't I go back? What is pushing me this way? That's what I don't get about this level. That's like the big problem with it, is like, there's some kind of invisible wall that prevents you from going.
There's a power...
What? Why did I just slide 300 feet over to the left?
There was a Power Rangers episode called Rocky Just Wants to Have Fun, where someone brings a Pachinko machine to the juice bar and Lord Zed casts a evil spell on it that makes one of the Rangers just want to play Pachinko all the time, non-stop, so he can't fight. That episode plus was so stupid. Point is, we're in a Pachinko machine level, so we may as well mention Pachinko trivia. Anybody know anything about Pachinko machines?
I can feel your anger. Strike me down, and your transition to the dark side will be complete.
And I just should die again. Oh boy.
Jesus. What is that? Like, maybe they were trying to make it like a Pachinko ball or something so that you would automatically go, but that just makes it harder to get that. That's like that one near the beginning is the hardest part of this level. That is why this...
They want you to feel helpless.
Oh, what? It pushed me to the side. What was that? I was like right over it and then decided, nah. Alright.
Currently, I'm in an argument with a commenter who considers me a fool for referring to Ratchet & Clank Size Matters as the 5th game, when it was the 5th game to come out, in place of the other ones.
I guess they consider it like a side dish or a spin-off.
And that's why he said I was an idiot, because it was made by High Impact Games, therefore not valid.
Huh. Well, I wouldn't call Secret Agent Clank the 6th game, but I guess you could get away with calling Sizemare the 5th game.
Yeah, it's same gameplay.
What I told
it
him
follows
was-
up directly off of Deadlocked.
That's what I said. Plays like a classic Ratchet game, looks like a classic Ratchet game, follows off the previous games, looks pretty sequely to me. And then like Secret Agent Clank is definitely a spin-off, but Size Matters is more like a main series game than Deadlocked is.
I think it's funny how these characters keep trying to quit. Like, keep trying to retire and be like, okay, no more adventures. And then we get to, like, a decade since they started. And I don't mean just a decade in the real world. I mean in the story. By the end of the series, by the time we get to Enter the Nexus, I'm pretty sure Ratchet is, like, he started as a teenager in the first game. I think he's in his late 20s by the time we're there. And they've been doing this for almost a decade of his life, just constantly fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, you can kind of see it in like just how jaded he gets sometimes. I really like the ending of Into the Nexus, where he's like, I just can't catch a break. That really did make me feel like, oh man, yeah, this guy has been through a lot.
Just gotta love the recording curse.
Yep.
I recorded this for a review. It only took me like 3 tries. How are you supposed to get in there? What's the deal with the physics here?
I don't know.
Fuck!
It's almost like the game detects you using FLUDD, and it's like, no, you're not supposed to use FLUDD, you're supposed to fall aimlessly, helplessly down. Well, then they should have taken FLUDD away from you at the start.
Yeah. But it's like, you kind of need FLUDD to get to some of the later ones. Oh, fuck! If I hadn't ground pounded, I would have made it. Alright.
Well,
Wah, wah, wah. Will you cut that out?
SpongeBob memes are the best.
Son of a bitch.
I swear, I worked today.
I've only played Munch's Odyssey.
And I hated it.
Oh, it was one of the only Xbox games I played back then, so I liked it at the time.
How about now?
I haven't played it in so long, I wouldn't know what I would think of it. Got it! Holy shit! So you gotta wall jump up to that one. Now we just gotta get the rest without killing myself, and it'll be golden. Yeah. I'm not sure why they, like, apparently, much like the Japanese version of Majora's Mask, the Japanese version of this game was kind of a mess too.
Wait, what about Majora's Mask?
Like, the original version of that game didn't have the quick save feature. The Japanese version
I
didn't.
can't wait to bring that up in my rant view of Majora's Mask.
Do you like Majora's Mask?
No,
though?
it's
No.
Huh. For a time, that was my favorite Zelda game. Now I'm wondering if I should go to Breath of the Wild.
Well, my thought Botwell was a betrayal to the fans.
Oh, okay.
Actually, that's X's opinion. Just kidding.
Oh, okay.
well, I wasn't really huge on that game.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I didn't finish it, so I can't say. Well, I mean, I played all the Divine Beasts. I figured that was good enough. I didn't want to play anymore after that. I mean, I hear stories of people who can't put the controller down on Breath of the Wild, and just I just didn't have that experience.
The problem is that the dungeons are kind of like my favorite part because it's the most game designy thing in the game, I guess.
The rest of it is just work.
And there are only 4 of those.
I got it. Okay, well, see, that's just it. And there's a lot of people who like that the rest of it doesn't feel, game designy. It just feels like, I guess, a world.
I thought it was a master. No, I'm just kidding.
Nope.
I'm not going to go there again, but anyway.
I got it.
Alright.
I got it.
Is that a lot of people
I know what
thought
the
that
term
shrines what made up for the lack of dungeon content
I remember what the term is. It's over-designed. I think sometimes it's possible for a game to be over-designed and for everything to start feeling robotic, which is kind of ironic to say considering how many games that Butler are literally robotic in some way.
Like, I didn't think the shrines were a suitable replacement for more dungeons. Because they made it sound like there were going to be a lot of them when the game was being developed. They said, we're going to make it like the original. Well, you know what? The original had like 9 dungeons in it? 8 or 9? Then you play Bot one, it's...
I think they just...
And you know, Majora's Mask was developed in like a year. So the fact that there are only 4 dungeons, you know, it's kind of... And I thought the world in Majora's Mask was more interesting. But then you play Bot one, it's like you got 4 dungeons and then a bunch of boring shrines and a bunch of Korok seeds that aren't interesting to get, and that's it. And some fetch quests.
I will say I like the world of Majora's Mask more than Hyrule Field and Ocarina of Time. Not just because it's smaller,
Well,
but
yeah.
it just feels like the places in it have more purpose, and for a long time that was my favorite overworld. But Bato is such a different beast that like works so differently. I can't even say like which one I like anymore because I like each for a completely different reason. Maybe it's just because I haven't played that many open world games, so my standards probably aren't as high as they should be. I don't have like as refined of a palette.
Oh shit! Alright, I made it. Do I know about Twitch alerts, Streamlabs? I don't know what that is. Whiplash for the Xbox. I never heard of it, but I'm willing to get more Xbox games.
This is Kami, so
you know,
don't Game Grumps it up.
Know about them?
They're a bunch of cacophony, that's what they are.
Well, I think they were referring to...
I was too busy looking at the chat.
I think that there was a reference to the Pachinko machine part. Aaron, like, literally rage and smashed the controller because he just couldn't beat it. And I guess these guys are starting to worry, oh no, Exo's died like 5 times. Is he gonna do...
Yeah.
Is he gonna flip out? It's like, nah, Mike knows what he's doing.
Yeah. This isn't my first time. I've beaten this game 100%. Yeah, I know I missed it.
Speaking of Pachinko machines, I was thinking, it makes me think of MGS3, and then it makes me think of making a video on that game. And I'm like, I know that game is a 3DS port, and I don't have a 3DS capture, so I'm thinking of just stealing someone else's footage. It's like, thanks to what Tropolis said, I just agree with him that, like, borrowing someone else's footage should be, like, no problem if they don't own the game. So, yeah. Like, I don't see how raw footage should be monetized, and people should make money off of that.
Super Mario Sonic Lover says, do you guys watch anime? Is there any recommendations?
My favorite anime is Free.
I'm above that nonsense. 'Cause, I'm great like that.
That's the thing that's always weird to me is when some Westerners, some like Americans try to make us sound unpatriotic to watch anime. I think it's why like South Park made a whole parody of it where it's like they were trying to do it of like Pearl Harbor a second time. By getting all the kids to watch their anime movies and play their Pokemons. But that's not gonna happen.
Most of the people who hate anime that I've seen in my life, I've never watched an episode of it to begin with, so
I mean, I've seen it, it's okay, but it's just like, it's everywhere.
I don't see why it needs to be its own category and not just animation.
Yeah, that's one thing that
I
bugs
think that's...
me. And both people who are fans of anime and detractors of anime do this. They refer to it like it's a genre, except it's got all these genres within it, just like movies and American cartoons and anything else.
Now, there seems to be a lot of cliches. Like, there's always the really closed off guy, and the one who's there's always like a schoolboy who gets powers or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it hasn't always been like this, but over time it's gotten more and more like that because you have to understand life sucks in Japan for like the salary men guys. It's like high school is the last time they ever really got to be happy in life, and then they get a job and well they work basically all the time, and they just go out drinking with their coworkers to show that they're like really part of the company afterwards. So they end up having barely any free time. So whatever they're gonna watch, it better take them back to a happier time in their life. And that's why, you know, you have so many that take place in high school, because that's apparently what they desperately need. Which is really sad, because it's capable of so many other things, but the ones that do try other things, they kind of end up being overlooked. Or they don't catch on in Japan, but they catch on in other countries.
Is it true that Japanese
Yeah,
generally don't care for more anthropomorphic characters?
I'm not sure, but I do think there's a case to be made for it. Like, have you ever seen the Sonic Digested video where they talk about, like, Voice 6? It's not just that, but there are so many examples where it's like what we do with Transformers, where you always have the human character who's, like, our liaison with them. That's what Japan does for pretty much every character that is like an animal or a robot or whatever. There was a Mega Man cartoon where it was like Mega Man and these two human kids tag along with him. It's like, why is this necessary?
Oh, fuck! You son of a bitch!
I've had too long of a day to listen to EXO scream now. Don't pick me up.
What I don't like is when anime fans act like it's demeaning to call it a cartoon. Like, oh, you're saying it's just a stupid cartoon. Like,
It's like if you call a manga a comic book.
I call them comic books.
This is exactly what it is.
Like, earlier I was
Panels
talking
with
about
words.
Battle Angel. I didn't call it the manga, I called it the comic. Basically, they should just let people express that they like it in whatever way they're fine with it. You know, just because, calling it a cartoon might seem demeaning somehow to some weeks. It's not. Just because they have some weird hang-up when it comes to American animation, it's like, so what?
I feel like there's many people I know who think anybody who's laid eyes with anime, speaks in English and like wears Sailor Moon cosplay all the time. It's like nice. I know some really uneducated people though. So what is that? What do I know?
It's a thing that exists that's really easy to be exposed to.
I mean, like I said, most of these same people who probably hate it so much have probably never seen an episode in their lives. I've always gone by the code that if I, instead of having an opinion, making some kind of stupid opinion on something that I don't know anything about, I'm just not going to say anything. Seeing as like I said, I don't want to.
Where the
I was going to go take boobs, but that's another trouble.
Yeah.
I mean,
Best anime is King of the Hill.
and that anime is just nothing but screaming and gratuitous violence. It's like, but no, not gratuitous violence. That's cool. That would be military violence.
Oh my! The Pachinko machine hole is like not even black. It's just like a little divot in the building.
Wow,
I never knew that.
It's summer vacation. I'm still ranting about school.
Beefx asks, are we talking about how much anime sucks? I mean, how anime sucks? Like, no, we're not saying anime sucks. We're just talking about like the weird social climate around it, I guess.
The uneducated swines who think everyone who watches anime is a weeb, who like is creepy.
Yes.
It's like everybody I know is a weeb except me.
Except me, because I've
Like
never,
my sister is a
never
weeb.
laid eyes upon it.
I mean, like I've seen a couple animes and they're good, but I just don't understand the obsession.
Let alone the obsession over anything else animated.
Is that best?
Come on, lady.
Is
I
there
gave
like
you 3 coconuts. Shit. So apparently I had to talk to her first or it doesn't count.
Wouldn't you know these
Now I'm
things
running out
already?
of juice. Oh, usually I do, but because I was like trying to get it over with before the boat came back, The social climate is bad because all the weebs are bad. Sad.
Wow, the people I know would have voted for that guy if they could vote.
This right here is why the poison river is bad.
Thankfully, you get 16 tries. Well, I guess 17.
These.
You see, Abif, that's one thing that bugs me is when people say, "Oh, everyone in anime looks the same." I hate the term anime style because everyone just takes like the most basic.
Well, it's like if you
bare-bones
compare
twist
it
of
to like Western animation, where like there are some kind of everything looks very rounded and very cartoony, but when you look at it, there's a much bigger diversity of style than there is with anime, right?
Yeah.
Of course, different artists are going to have different looks. Like Akira Toriyama looks pretty different from, like if you look at the Chrono Trigger art style, which was Akira Toriyama, and compare it to like Final Fantasy, which was like that, not Nomura, but some other guy. You can tell the difference, but still, they have that kind of that same look to them.
Here's the thing: it would be so easy for somebody to look at a few of the more recent shows on Cartoon Network that adopt the whole Adventure Time art style, or they give everybody a weirdly shaped head and say, "Oh, look, all Western animation is like that," because that's all the ones I've seen. There are some really divergent sorts of anime out there in terms of style. It's just that, well,
like Panty and Stocking looks pretty different. I can agree with that.
Most of the more experimental ones just tend to be overlooked for some reason. They don't really catch on quite as much.
Oh, that goes for a lot of things, though.
The actual content themselves and just the art style. Yes, well, I mean, if we kind of touched upon that, I think just a moment before you came in. Like,
it looks like Yoshi just died.
Oh.
Oh, wait, no, he was down there.
Yeah, Abif, I was kind of touching upon this earlier. The reason there are so many high school anime lately is because it's made for the kind of people who were only really happy when they were in high school, and then they got a terrible job as a salaryman or whatever, and it leaves them with like so little time to socialize or anything. It's like they get
crap.
At 11 at night, and it's like, oh, what's on TV? Oh, hey, something about high school. That was like the last time in my life I ever got to enjoy anything. And so, it's like it takes it back to a better time, and that's why you have so many like that. But apparently there's a huge demand for it from people who are miserable with their jobs.
It's pretty tragic, all things considered.
Yeah. To us, high school may seem like shit, but in Japan, once you're out of high school, everything gets so much worse.
Yeah.
It's like we see leaving high school as like the beginning of one's life, where suddenly you're free, you can get a car, you can do all that you couldn't before, you're like a grown-up now. But in Japan, it's like, oh boy, that was just training wheels compared to what comes next.
I like how you keep saying people get a job as a salaryman.
Well, that's this.
I like how elegant job your cat and dog.
I might be able to salvage this.
Point is, all the stupid high school stuff, it's not made for us. So, there's a reason it doesn't really resonate with us.
Isn't that why a stupid character like Chris Thorndike exists in the first place? Like, to appeal to that demographic?
Ah, crap.
I do like how they at least made this water a darker shade than the rest of the water in the game.
Well, you have these giant skull and crossbones signs, so I think that's enough to clue you in on the fact that it probably shouldn't go in the water. They might as well have just made it lava.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta say, usually I beat these levels in like a couple tries.
Hey,
and it's like the moment you switch on the recording device and do it live.
Pixar did
maybe maybe this should have been a lava stage with like the boat, and this would be the first time you use the boat. But there wouldn't
Oh
even
God, no.
What
There
was
wouldn't even. No, listen. There wouldn't be a current pushing you along. It would just be sort of like a tutorial to get you used to it before you have to go to the volcano. If you happen to come here.
Actually, what was
Well,
the
the
game
tutorial's supposed to be in... What?
How, the Zebras playthrough, how were your performance on that? Because that was recording.
Oh, Eric played that. I
Okay.
didn't. Oh, shit!
Oops.
I was so close that time.
That's another thing that bugs me, Beef, is subs versus dubs. It's when, like, weebs try to make you feel so bad for watching a dub. When they approach it as, like, a moral
fuck that.
argument. Where it's like, oh, these Japanese voice actors, they work so hard, that's why you should never watch dubs. It's like, excuse me, our voice actors have to eat, too. They're trying, you know, you're not in the sound booth, you don't know how hard they're working. You can't just assume they're not.
Yeah. When I was watching, whenever I would watch anime with Ethan, he was very much like that. Like, I mean, to be fair, English dubbing is usually really bad.
Yeah.
Like, most of the ones I've seen, it's just like the animation just doesn't time up well with it. But beyond that, I don't want to listen to someone speak another language I don't understand when I have the option to listen to what I do.
But it's like if it's a matter of personal preference, if someone just prefers to watch subs for whatever reason, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Like there are some where I prefer the sub just because I think the voice acting is better in those cases. But the minute someone tries to approach it as a moral argument, like it's the right thing to do, they can just piss off. They've got no leg to stand on if that's where they're going.
What is wrong with people?
You know, you say that, Azel, but I actually thought they did a really good job with Kirby Right Back At You.
I like
Because
how
they had...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah?
I was just saying, I
Like-
like how the leaf dies, like as you get near the
Oh,
level.
yeah.
The water's even poisoning it.
Alright. I say we go for Secret Shines next, because that's what I'm feeling.
So you
They
like
got
that
the two
there,
worst
Kirby?
shines in the game done. How long have we been going?
So you,
Almost 2 hours.
so you like that there, Kirby?
Yeah, I actually really liked that show.
Yeah, it's cute.
I really enjoy the... Like, I feel like they got really good voice actors for it. Like, Ted Lewis, I think, was the one who did Escargoon and
Ted
King Dedede.
Lewis.
Yeah, Ted
The
Lewis, that's his
worst
name.
members of Brain Scratch combined.
But he also did a lot of the work on like the writing and the translating too, and I feel like if they had like a good staff on there that was really kind of invested in what they were working on, it made all the difference, I think. Because if you compare it to like Sonic X, the translation and dubbing is a lot better.
That's another
good
thing I
voice
like is when the localization and when the localization team are allowed to do their dang jobs and rewrite the characters so that their dialogue sounds more like how people would naturally talk over here.
Yeah,
They don't have
they
to
definitely
insert-
did that with Kirby because, like, in the
they don't
original
have to
version of the
insert-
anime, like,
yeah, sorry.
so like so Nick and Jay, you guys both played like Kirby Air Ride, right?
No.
No? Huh. Well, the soundtrack in there is like very unique. Like most of it's actually taken straight from the Japanese version of Kirby Right Back At You, which is just called the Kirby of the Stars in Japan. And it's like Checker Knights is the theme that would play whenever Kirby would fight a monster in the show. And that's become a pretty famous track. And then like I know, I think the DDD's theme that they would play in the show, they would play that whenever DDD was like scheming around. So it's like all the tracks in like the Warp Star theme, I think they used in another stage in Kirby Air Ride. But it's just like, while that stuff works for something like Kirby Air Ride, it just feels really out of place in the anime from what little I've seen of it. Like the soundtrack that they used for the English dub is completely different, and it works a lot better for the show. And I do have a soft spot for the theme song too. And
Yeah,
it's
when
fun
the
little
writers-
big band song.
Like, I don't like it when writers will do things that end up dated, like when they make the characters say things like cray cray. That's just
Oh
dumb.
god.
That's a cultural flotsam. But I do like it when, yeah, but I do like it when they're able to talk like people do over here, as opposed to. It's like, okay, a good example of this is Dragon Ball Kai, which is really just Dragon Ball Z, just as like a supercut, where they cut out a ton of the filler and made it more like snappy and to the point. Well, they put a lot of the dialogue too, and I actually don't like a lot of the new dialogue because, sure, it's closer to the original Japanese script, but when they originally dubbed it in English, the writers were able to make some really powerful, emotional stuff that, well, would just appeal more to, you know, someone like us. But now it's written to sound a little more, you know, like the original. My point is, what might resonate over there isn't necessarily going to resonate over here.
Yeah, I agree. Which is why Kid Icarus Uprising is one of the best examples, I think.
Yeah.
Because I've looked at some of the Japanese dialogue and it's so dull. And then you go over to the English one, it's just like they had so much freedom to actually write it the way they wanted to. And it's great. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and one of the reasons for that is it does such a good job at building its world and its characters and stuff like that. And like everything is yeah.
You know what I always thought
It's
was
like I
funny?
cared about what was going on with Palutena and like one of the later story arcs in the game because you had spent so much time with her and, you know, had a chance to kind of joke around with her throughout the whole game. So when she goes bad, spoiler alert, you care about why it happened.
Well, now I know.
You know.
Yeah,
Well,
I
you
always
don't know the
thought-
whole details of the situation.
I always thought it was kind of funny how in the first few episodes of Sonic X, Jason is trying really hard to sound like Ryan Drummond, and you can hear like Mike Pollock is trying to sound like Dean Bristow. But after a few episodes, it kind of dropped that and started going their own way. But still, it's just kind of funny looking at
Their
those first
impressions
couple
were really
episodes.
bad.
Yeah, but it's like they knew it would be a jarring transition for people, so at least they tried to make it a little painless, I guess.
I haven't really seen much of Sonic X. It seemed like it was like a really long show.
Isn't there only like 3 seasons?
Like there was.
Oh,
It seemed like there were like a million episodes, and to be fair, Kirby Right Back at You has 100.
Stash.
Oh, no,
That
Son-
anime has
Sonic X
100
just-
episodes.
Sonic X just recently got the seasons re-released for like season sets on DVD. I think it was like the first set was season 1 and 2, and then the last season was the Space Meta-Rex thing.
Stash and which speech do I like better? I like little things about them each, but I do admit the second version, the more true version, does work better there. But anyway, like okay, here's one example of how much they bungled up the writing when they made like DBZ Kai. There's a point in the show where, you know, Vegeta, who's become like a good guy, he doesn't want to be a good guy anymore. He wishes he could go back to before he got married and had kids and whatnot. And the way he says it, there's something really morose about it. He says like, I awoke one day to find out I'd become one of you. I settled down, started a family. I'd even grown quite fond of them. And then he says this one line that's really probably says, would you believe I even started to think the Earth was a nice place to live? That was basically a completely original line for the English script. And then a new one, he basically just says, you Earthlings domesticated me. And that's basically it. I'm like, what? That's so much less powerful. What? Darn weebs. Wanting everything to be completely 100% spot on and accurate for whatever reason.
Now even you have a problem with the weebs.
I've always hated weebs. I'm not a weeb. I'm
Well, you seem to
balanced.
watch a lot of anime.
I don't watch.
Isn't
a
that
lot.
what-
I just watch the ones that like appeal.
So
to me.
you'd call yourself an otaku rather than a weeb.
I'm not an otaku either. Like people can just watch a few anime here and there. It doesn't make it'd be like, oh, I listen to music. does that make me, you know, the music equivalent of a weeb? Or, hey, I watch live-action Western movies. You can passingly enjoy just about anything and be, like, fairly knowledgeable about it. Weebs and otakus are just people who take it to a point that's, like, unhealthy.
Well, Mr. Paradigm, was there something correct about Nick and I will make this statement?
No. I don't even remember what I was laughing at.
I don't know what you're laughing at either. I think you need to get that checked out.
He does it a lot.
Are you doing alright, Jay? You sound a little jaded today.
Oh, I'm quite fine.
Alright.
Mr. J, keep squirming like that, and the doctor will give you a lollipop.
You know what I think would be
ideas like that.
You know, one like old comic from the 70s that I think would be great for someone like Guillermo del Toro to make a movie about, given that he's done stuff like Hellboy. There's one series called Devilman, and basically a demon attempts to possess a boy, but the boy is so pure-hearted that it doesn't work. But he ends up inheriting things like super strength from the monster, and then he ends up, you know, taking on, you know, like other monsters and people who have been possessed. He's like the only one who's like retained his personality. It's a pretty cool idea for a story, and I can easily see him making a movie out of something like that.
I prefer Mike Pollock.
Ooh.
Dean Bristow's fun, but I feel like Mike Pollock really just gets the character a little better. Or at least gets him in a way that I prefer.
But Exo, and Mike Pollock is just playing Mike Pollock. Dean Bristow is acting.
He's the actual 3D Eggman.
Got him.
You fools must have a death wish.
Who remembers that classic?
You little thieves. Away.
I'm not playing on an emulator, I'm playing on the actual hardware.
It's not fun hardware on Nick 10. Don't.
Right. Well, the Wii is basically just a GameCube with some bells and whistles. It's a little bit more powerful, I guess, but it's like pretty much one-to-one with the GameCube when it comes to GameCube stuff. Kind of like how the Game Boy Player is technically an authentic Game Boy Advance hardware.
Yeah, that's a good, wait a second, I just commented on, let's see, Hasselhouse64 says, I like this A2 with man. It was the only time he felt menacing in a fun way. I see what he's getting at. It was very
I
campy.
used to think that, but like, if you come back to the dialogue now, it's just so goofy all the time.
Well, that's just it.
Yeah.
It's campy. You know, it's like he's completely not self-aware, so he can come off as.
Yeah, I guess.
I think camp has a certain appeal to it.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, like that. I mean, that stuff's memorable.
My favorite part is where Shadow and Rouge are talking about how, Shadow and Rouge are basically talking about, like, how Shadow came and rescued her. And then, just in the middle of them talking, Eggman just goes, and just cuts them off, and it's great.
Let's get to work. Let's get to work. Hey, Tails, have you found the president yet?
I ain't doing the Tails impression.
Sounds more like the work of Shadow.
Yes. And when the egg golem.
No.
Oh god.
Serious and silly at the same time. I think that's why people.
Sonic must have been broken the restraining mechanism. God, what a piece of junk.
It was like.
No.
I think I got it. Dean Bristow's interpretation of Eggman really isn't that different from how Jim Cummings portrayed him, and that one singer whose name I can never remember played him in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Mike Pollock, he very much does his own thing. I think that's part of why like people make it like versus this or that is because they look at, you know, those other three guys who are all fairly similar in the way they portray them. It's almost like this big amorphous blob that just has their three heads on it. Whereas Mike Pollock, you know, he's like his completely own beast.
Yeah.
That's why.
I like the odd game out for him is probably Lost World, where it seems to get really dark all of a sudden. Like, I guess being stuck in a time loop would do that to a man, but you know, still, it's, and then you go from that to Sonic Boom, where he's like his usual Eggman-y self. Usual Mike Pollock Eggman, anyway. Like, I really like that scene where Eggman tracks down Lyric, and then like Lyric basically turns his robots on him, and he's like, "Well, I'll help you do whatever you want, Master." And they like fight the whole game.
You know what I wish is that Eggman had been like the true villain of that game, and it turns out Lyric, the supposed ultimate evil, was actually a good guy whose machines were just
that would have
by Eggman.
Well, that would require a quality game.
Well, let's humor Nick's idea for a moment there, because I think he might be onto something there.
Just imagine
because kind of as it was just that, I guess, didn't Lyric have some kind of disease or something?
Yeah, he basically...
That made him want to, like, roboticize everything?
Yeah, the crystals gave him cancer. He needed that suit to like, survive.
Gotcha.
And he had his fellow ancients when, like, in the ancient times, they're still called the ancients, so he's not an ancient, but he's calling them the fellow ancients. I don't fucking get it.
I would like it if the plot was different and Lyric was actually not a bad guy, and if, say...
Or maybe just, like, misguided, like... Maybe he felt betrayed that he got locked away and he just kind of wants to take his vengeance when it was really just... No, they could have done better with him.
Sounds like Mr. Freeze.
I'm thinking like a Metal Robotnik situation, like in the Sonic OVA, where, you know, where Metal Robotnik is, of course, just a suit. It's not really this other bad guy. I think it would be neat if the Lyric that we see is just another creation of Robotnik's. And then we meet like the real Lyric, who's, I guess, much less scary. And you find out like he made all these machines, but he never intended for them to be used the way that Eggman's using them. And then you see like how it is that Eggman has so much technology at his fingertips is because he's actually like stolen a lot of it from this Lyric guy and just repurposed it and put a mustache on it.
Yeah.
I guess one thing I miss is Eggman like actually planning things out and being a step ahead of everybody else, and not just because they're stupid and can't see through his obvious plans. But like his plans actually being clever.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of like this plan in Colors. It just felt a little bit... Because it was always getting like there's some kind of ancient demon that he wants to control, and then you get to that one, it's just like mind control. Use this whole theme park thing as a ruse to cover up my plan. Basically using these living creatures to power his, you know, his machine and all that, and basically turning them into demon monsters.
And Colors was like the last game like that. Nowadays, it's like we can never just have Eggman himself lead the bad guy anymore. He always has to be usurped by somebody else. Even this new game.
Well, it's like the weird thing is that
we've got this new
the DS version. The DS version of Colors does that whole Monster of the Week thing again. Like they have the final boss is Nega Mother Wisp or something like that, and people are trying to convince me that that's the better plot somehow because it's more like the other games, and I'm like, I don't know. They really didn't need to be there.
Who told you that?
It wasn't even that great of a boss.
I do.
Like, I know that Jeb says that.
Like, look, I do like the idea if say,
I just think
you know, you have this
better game.
I do like the
I don't know, I don't really agree with that.
I do like the idea of there being a Mother Wisp and say Eggman taking control of her. Like he puts mind control antenna thingies on her, and then so you know he's essentially, you know, like turned her into one of his robots basically. But then he's still the one in charge. He's still the bad guy. I would like that. And if, say, you just have to attack the devices using to control her and then free her, I think that would be interesting.
Yeah.
The point is, I still want.
I don't know.
Eggman
There's
to-
just
I still want him to be the one in command, which he so
Yeah.
is.
it's like it looks like they're gonna be doing like I don't really know even what they're doing with Forces because I haven't really been keeping up
Well,
because
Forces just looks like a goddamn train wreck is all I'm seeing. Because I'm just seeing 2D block platforming and some incredibly boring 3D Sonic with some pandering that many people are pretending doesn't exist, and then throw that shade onto Mania. But that's neither here nor there. What it is just that the game looks like a directionless catastrophe.
But just look at what they're doing with the bad guy. They're hyping it up like, look, Eggman's taking over the world. He's really
And then
the
we
bad
obviously
guy.
see some Infinite guy already there, so great.
Yeah, he's got like weird time powers and summons these cubes everywhere.
And it's like, is that Shadow from SA2 or is that Shadow? But then again, clearly, according to Takashi Iizuka, SA2 is a different dimension from Sonic Forces, a different dimension from Classic Sonic, and a different dimension
What?
from Sonic Heroes. And then, well, you actually did not hear. Jeb's been tweeting about this for weeks. Iizuka had said that
I'm pretty sure I don't really pay attention to Jeb's rants anymore on Twitter.
But he's been basically Takashi Iizuka claims that there is like multiple Sonic timelines and dimensions,
That's pretty silly.
and that Classic Sonic is a different character as a result. When in Generations, it was established that it was a younger version of Sonic, but no,
Honestly,
it's actually a different dimension.
I still prefer the idea to Classic Sonic just being a younger, modern Sonic.
I just
would
prefer
prefer
the
it-
idea
oh,
that
they
it's a
just
design
have-
change. That's what I prefer.
Yeah, but if they have to justify the art style some way, well, it'll just be a different version of him.
I mean, I guess Ultimate Dimension explains where most of those Game Gear characters went, but like, nah, who cares?
This is like, who really cared about Fang the Sniper?
Evidently, some people did.
He's admittedly a pretty cool character in the Archie comics.
Now that that's over, most of those SatAM characters are dead now. I mean, like, they have so
Yeah.
many characters, I don't know why they're wasting them all. And, like, bringing back. Like, really, honestly, when it said a hero would need help in the initial trailer, I did not actually think Classic Sonic was about to appear. I thought I was about to see, like, Knuckles or Shadow or somebody who's actually good.
Yeah, why is it so much to ask to just have these 3 characters playable again?
Like,
Because
I still feel like
Sonic himself has been competent on his own for a while now. Say.
Because they're still scared of all the reviewers who will say, another Sonic game ruined by his stupid friends. When will
Well,
Sega
you say
learn to
that, but they
stop
put the
putting his friends
frickin'
in the
OC
game?
character in there.
well, that was just for the memes, because the memes would sell the game. Pandering to
I
don't know about
pandering to
that.
IGN and getting the memes out there will sell copies.
But it's less risky to have like just one other character than it is to, have you play as Rouge and Shadow and all the others again.
Well, like, I feel like people always say Shadow shouldn't come back because his arc was done in SA2 even. But the thing is like, as a writer, it's your job to make your characters interesting, and if you can't do that, you're crapped at your job. So...
And I think they could easily make Shadow interesting. The problem is they don't want to make him interesting, or rather, they think the only way to keep him interesting is to keep coming up with new excuses for him to be an evil edgelord douchebag. I wish that they would roll with like what we saw at the end of SA2 and show him like actually enjoying life. Maybe taking up hobbies besides just shooting and killing things.
I
Be like mature.
I feel like the Sonic Shadow Silver dynamic still has some merit that they never went into because 06 is 06. I feel like they could do something with that. But, no. Even then, I think just the fact that Tails and Knuckles they even bothered putting them on the box, like all the other characters are just gonna be on the radio, constantly bothering you, constantly telling you things. It's like, oh my god, please tell me there's an option to turn that off.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what they do with it, because if it's like Kid Icarus Uprising, then I'll be cool with it.
I mean, does Amy saying Sonic those robots up ahead really add anything to the game?
Well, that's the thing. I haven't really been watching any of the promotional materials because it's just
Silver
like...
and Vector and Amy are hammering it on the radio every 3.5 seconds. And I guarantee they're probably going to repeat lines because that's a Sonic meme.
Well, we wouldn't have a Sonic game without Eggman saying the same shit over and over again, so that would
By the
probably
way,
be in there.
I love that fruit hanging from the tree's nose looks like a booger.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's a nice touch. Does that remind anybody else of the Great Deku Tree? Or did I say that in the last session?
I don't think you did. Bananas. You have to go find the bananas.
You mean a nanner?
Or maybe it worked a banana. Alright. Let's go get him, fam.
I think I may have said this last time, but going to that spot with Yoshi on the merry-go-round, I just imagine that pole suddenly like shooting down through him. It's like, now you will forever be a part of the ride. You are trapped. You will never run.
Diddle 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 diddle.
Can I keep ranting about Takashi Iizuka? I feel like he's like one of the worst series managers. He's one of the worst series managers I've ever seen because he like doesn't know what he's doing. He's like they change their mind every game, so like Sonic
ceiling running
is so stupid. Like honestly, that's why I don't care about Sonic that much anymore. It's like the series is as directionless gets. Because I remember Takashi Iizuka had said that Classic Sonic Classic Sonic would never come back after Sonic Generations. He said that Lost World would be the future gameplay of the series, and yeah. And now he's saying Classic Sonic's an alternate dimension, before it was an alternate timeline.
Something I want to point out, just Sonic so well, oh yeah, now I remember. Yeah, the meme going around that, oh, Sonic was never good, you guys. The people who tend to think that way, it's not just because of the gameplay, but the very idea of Sonic. Because why was Sonic created? To be the cool, hip, trendy new thing that's like, hey, wait,
yeah.
than that Mario kid. But that can only last so long. That's a temporary thing, because cool is a thing that's always changing. The definition of cool doesn't stay the same for long. So, while like classic Sonic was made to be cool, it only took a few years for people to start seeing it as this cutesy, roly-poly thing. So that's why they changed the proportions, so it would look more athletic and more extreme, radical, like a skater, bro. But that stopped being cool after a while too, so now he's beaming it up and saying like rings, no. But that too is getting like dated and isn't cool. So, you know, Sonic is a character that always has to change to fit the current time's definition of cool. And that's why some people think that Sonic is just a shallow character that shouldn't exist because it's like represents the worst of our society or culture or whatever.
I feel like Sonic is a series that needs a hiatus or a death because, like, it's all Sega's fault. Because if they hadn't let Sonic Boom happen in the first place, we wouldn't have had all the classic Sonic. Like, people keep complaining about all this classic Sonic stuff, but it's like, blame Sega themselves because they're the ones who let Sonic Boom taint the series' reputation yet again. To the point where they would have to bang on nostalgia again.
They wanted to get experimental, and I guess we're foolish enough to trust another group of developers to make a game for them.
Like, I feel like there's zero chance Sega did not know Boom was a piece of shit before it came out.
Well, apparently they didn't give out review copies, so they must have known.
Yeah, so it's like, Sega, do you even give one fuck? Like, you should have not let them make the game. Because these are the same people who, Big Red Button was composed of, X, Naughty Dog, and Insomniac. But only thing we talk about here, these are also the people who were working at High Impact Games, and that company is literally no longer a thing.
I think it's entirely possible that maybe they thought it was going to be good early on, but then, you know, later in development they saw how it was shaping up, and like, well, geez, we can't just cancel the game. I mean, we gotta make something out of this investment. We gotta release it at least.
Of course, we all know.
Apparently, that game had a very difficult development cycle. It started as something completely different.
We all know that the game was going to not be on the Wii U to begin with, but then they had to hastily make it a Wii U game because of the contract, like Sega. Why didn't you just make another freaking, like, I don't know, some eShop budgeted, like, Sonic mini game collection? There you go. That's the third Sonic game for Wii. There you go. Now Sonic Boom can be a PS4, Xbox One game, and it can actually run well. It's not that hard.
Well, they just made it for the Wii U to begin with, and then it's not like the Wii U isn't it's powerful enough to get the job done. It's just they didn't have enough time, I guess, to do it right.
And then they
It's really their problem for sticking to the whole, we have to have some kind of game come out every anniversary. It's like every 5 years, we have to have an anniversary game, because, you know, we have to have a Sonic game come out on his birthday every year. When it's like, who the hell cares? It's an arbitrary date, just, you know, take your time.
Like, we all thought Forces was doing that, but Forces is already a mess anyway. So, I guess that's up.
The game's not out yet, let's reserve our judgment.
I didn't say the game.
Yeah, this is what...
They're out of 10, it just looks like it's not going to be a good game. It's just
This
like...
is what, okay, sorry, Stash, I'll get to you in a sec. Like, every time I would judge a Sonic game back in the day, people would tell me, oh, Nick, wait until the game's out, then judge it. Well, trailers are kind of supposed to give you an idea of what it's about. The problem is, they've only shown us the first couple of stages. And
Yeah.
I don't think it's any stretch to think that, oh, well, the later stages will just be completely different. Because, like, you look at modern Green Hill, or, you know, the first level of any Unleashed or Colors game, whatever, and they aren't nearly as complex as they get because it's like a training wheels level. I'm hoping, I don't know if this hope is misplaced, but I'm hoping that the other like, modern Sonic levels are longer than the first one, or than Parkway Avenue. I'm hoping that they get meatier, but if they don't, oh well. I don't know what I should have expected. But Stash, he asks, Nick, do you think Classic Sonic should even be in Forces? I don't know.
No. Well, I wasn't asked, so therefore I probably shouldn't answer.
I don't know, I just never saw the appeal of Classic Sonic as a version of the character. Like, we've talked about this many times, so I don't know.
If they're going to include Classic Sonic,
There we go. That's alright.
if they're going to include Classic Sonic in a new game, I wish they would just play it straight. You don't need to come up with this weird Days of Future Past kind of justification for him to be there. Just let him be there. Just be sincere about it.
I don't
Let's
know.
just put him in the 2D games and put Mario and Sonic in 3D games. Problem solved.
Yeah.
Though if they were, like, if they made a 3D game where the entire point of it was to feel like, you know, the 3D equivalent of a 2D game, then I think it would be justified, like it was in Sonic Utopia. It's not even that, like, when people think Classic Sonic, for some reason, they think of, like, the American box art, Sonic 1 Sonic. I think of, like, the way he was trying to see these cutscenes and the old game.
Yeah.
You know, just a
He does, I will give you
different
that, he looks a lot better there. But I still don't, I still don't really get the appeal of the character, even with the better drawn design.
For me, part of it is just that it communicates very effectively what he does. He has like a roundish body and curls into a ball. Okay, I can easily see him doing that. But when the character is like really tall and lanky and is like a relatively tiny body, it's a little harder for me to imagine him doing that. It's just that I think a classic-ish design makes him look just enough like a normal real-life hedgehog, a creature known specifically for curling into a ball to get that point across. And that's what I think is most important about any character design, is that they make it clear what the character does, what that character is about.
Okay.
Also, really though, seriously,
got a
why
question.
is there so much 2D in Sonic Forces? I don't get it. Modern
Me
Sonic is
neither.
2D, Classic Sonic is all 2D, Custom Hero has all been 2D so far. It's literally a 2D game.
It's because you always have people saying like, oh, 3D Sonic is part of this game. These games are always a 2D part. Just
I mean,
before
literally,
that.
there has not been a fully 3D, no 2D section Sonic game since Sonic 06.
Yeah, it's
Even Secret Rings has 2D sections in it.
I keep thinking that the dark age of Sonic is over, but the wounds left by 06 are still there.
I can't
they
believe
just
it. Like, can
can't
people
play.
get over the fucking game? Like, it's over. Almost gonna be like, what, 11 years old this year, so what the fuck? Get over it.
Not as long as they can keep using it to make fun of Sonic in general. It's like, no, you guys don't get it. Just that it was possible for a game like that to be released forever destroys Sonic's credibility.
Well, I mean, I
It
guess
doesn't matter how
there is some
many-
validity to that statement, but still.
It's like, it doesn't matter how many good games come out now, you'll always know that that game existed, which forever changed its reputation. And like, can I just...
Sega shouldn't have let that happen. Like, that's another example where they fucked up. That was not fair.
Can't I just enjoy the games without being made fun of?
You know, I do have to say, someone did ask about this. I do like classic Robotnik's design. Like, I get the appeal of that design.
The classic Sonic.
Just something
I
about
hate
the
him,
chibi.
SA2 gets hate.
No, that has nothing to do with it. I don't know where you got that from.
Exo hates everything that's not SA2. That's where I got that from.
For some reason,
I don't know what you're talking about. I like plenty of Sonic games that aren't SA2.
I guess it's although I'm perfectly fine with, you know, modern Sonic's design being used, I guess I'm always gonna like classic Sonic just a little bit more now. It's probably because of the way modern Sonic has been written and voice acted in recent games. He comes off like a guy who's in his 30s, but still acts like he's in a college frat house. And he buys vehicles like a Hummer to impress all the young people, and he says cheesy things like, "That's how we roll!" And everybody laughs him behind his back, and he's so lame. That's what modern Sonic feels like to me, probably because of Roger Craig Smith's voice acting and the way he's being written. But that's just me. It's like that kind of character just leaves a rotten taste in my mouth. Where it's like I look at classic Sonic and, I don't know, it's just a little less jaded to me, I guess. Kind of funny how that wooden bridge makes it almost impossible for you to just slide along it because it's like all these different segments that stop you.
It's the if you try to do like the water slide thing, that's what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because the holes in the bridge dissipate the water, which is actually a nice attention to detail, but
I love these giant trees that are just sideways enough that you can walk up them.
no! So, I totally forgot to mention the fact that they completely removed the fucking fall damage shit from this game. Because I've Conker's the next review, folks, and that game has huge issues with fall damage. Really have no idea why that was ever a thing in 3D platformers. Who the fuck wants to fucking die from falling from like the slightest height?
To punish you for falling.
Well, maybe
I don't really think it works in Conker though.
Maybe it's so
Like,
that
have
if at
you-
the end of the game, when they have this plot point where like you can't get off the blimp because you don't have a paraglider, then therefore it's not inconsistent with the gameplay. Because if he still gets hurt from fall damage, then that means he's going to die from this giant 30,000-foot thing. The paradox can say, "What? Shut up! I'm done."
I'd rather these characters just smack on the ground like a cartoon character, but not receive any actual damage and just get life back up, and that's perfectly fine.
The problem with how Conker does it is that, like, this little platform that I'm on right now, right? You could fall from that height and still take damage. And if you fall from any higher than that, you lose like several hit points all at once. And there are all these sections in the game where they make you climb up these tall structures, and then like the only way to get down is to just slowly go back the way you came. But who the hell wants to do that?
Exo, I have a question. Do you think that many fans of Conker's Bad Fur Day are nostalgic?
I don't know if that's what I'd call it.
Oh yeah, just something I want to say about that last shine. I like how the leaves on that tree are apparently just stable enough that they were able to build a wooden platform without breaking the leaves, and then you can just sit up there, overlooking everything.
Hello, my name is Don Wilson. I own Iowa's largest wildlife preserve. I saw a video from you guys. It's called Dog Sitter. And I have this idea for a video. See, we're gonna make these platforms in downtown Manhattan. I want to produce a video for giraffes. And then these platforms are gonna be 15 feet in the air. And it's gonna be like a giraffe's night out in Manhattan.
I've heard enough.
Are you okay? Well, like, I don't know what you're referencing, or
There's this part. There's this part in one of the Best of the Worst episodes. Like Rich Evans always does these amazing prank calls. Like they'll watch a video and there'll be like a number on the back that you can call, and sometimes they still work. So they'll have him do these prank calls, and they're like amazing and totally improvised.
Sounds like something Alec was talking about in his like Joe the Jungle review. Oh, let me do the totally not cliche YouTube trope of calling the number on the back.
This joke isn't funny.
This joke was never funny.
Oh, I say, something about this level we didn't get to. The Chuckster level. How hard of a time did you have with this last time? Like,
I did die like a couple times. Not too many though.
only a couple. Pretty good.
Yeah. It was all because I couldn't quite line up the end throw.
But now you have Flood.
Yeah. Until I cheese it. But,
Well,
what? I just heard a blue coin sound.
maybe you're just crazy for blue coins. How about that?
That's possible. Gotta thank the maker that Retroplatrol isn't on the chat this time.
Retroplatrol. I like the sound of that.
Yeah. Can't seem to let the whole blue coin discussion go.
Oh my word, there's a drawing of a strolling stew on the inside of that wall. That is too cute.
Yeah, they spawn the stolen stews.
Oh, that's neat.
Nick Studio 10. I don't know what he's talking about.
Nick Studio. Oh my word. I think Nick Studio 10 was an experimental thing Nickelodeon did. It was just a bunch of random stupid live action skits done by these kids who had no idea what they were doing. And it was terrible. And it got canned like within a month.
Alright. That should be everything for the... Should be everything. Oh fuck, how did I forget about Serena Beach?
Oh, whoops.
I guess we did it out of order.
That's
Oh well. Which means you gotta go do the fucking casino one again.
So wow, you've got like 100 shines so far, technically, going by all the blue coins you've collected.
Yeah. It's really bad. Nick's show. Brooklyn Mario or Italian Mario? I kind of prefer Brooklyn Mario, actually. Well, it's not... I don't really think that whatever Charles Martinet is doing is really Italian, either.
Thank goodness ukulele removed fall damage. Yeah, I guess that's the one area where ukulele...
I don't think it did, though, because I remember taking fall damage in that game.
Ah, ukulele, a collectathon. What a piece of shit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to remove you from chat real quick.
But,
Keep that
I
up.
was just voicing a common opinion.
I
It's
know.
bad because it's a collectathon, right?
I really enjoyed Den's video.
You know, it almost kind of...
These games
Maybe
have
Microsoft
no
is right about Banjo-Kazooie all along, if that's the reaction it got. You know what I mean?
Have no place
What is
on
with-
our society.
We
Even though
saw
we
the
were
same
always
thing
talking
with...
about how great it was going to be.
We saw the same thing with Crash. It's like, oh no, Crash is the new Dark Souls because it's too freaking hard.
Well, I heard that there's something wrong with like the hit detection in the remake. That might have had something to do with that.
I mean, I do have one remark.
Actually, I've heard it's something like a combination of the controls being tweaked a little bit and the shadow underneath Crash making it a little hard to tell where you're going.
Isn't his jump arc like...
Well, I had that
faster?
problem in the original game, so I don't.
Well, because
I don't really.
Exo's a filthy hipster and must hate Crash.
But the point is, it's another example of taking an old game that to a degree, I think works just fine. And there are people saying, oh, it doesn't fit today's like modern standards for what we classify as good game design. It should be dead and buried. It doesn't work nowadays. It's like, just let people play it. Good lord.
Well, these are the same outlets that were hyping the game up to begin with, so that's why it's so funny to me.
So it's like ukulele all over again. It's like, this was just it. Today's gaming sensibility. Some crap like that doesn't mean anything.
We cannot accept such ungodly tripe.
So wait a second, are those blocks made of ice? Those like
Yeah.
water that's just staying here. Again, I really like that these are, the classic Mario blocks that you smash with your head, and they are so huge in this game. Jeez, it makes you wonder how it would be if they try to just make a straight up like old school style Mario game like this. Probably be overwhelming if there's not blocks like.
It was kind of fun to see the question blocks come back in Galaxy, because Galaxy 1 and 2, it was like it was like the first games to bring back a lot of that old school sort of elements, like enemies that we hadn't seen since like the SNES days, finally showing up in 3D, like the Magic Koopas. And then by the time we got the 3D world, it was just like, okay, it's old hat now. It used to be kind of cool to see these nostalgic things we remembered, but now it's kind of going a little too far in that direction.
What do you guys think is your favorite tune in Mario Galaxy 1?
Gusty Garden.
I'm having trouble choosing between, well, there's the Bowser Road theme, but it's barely changed at all since the N64 days. I like the way it was remixed in the second Galaxy game. But in the first Galaxy game, Buoy Base Galaxy, that's what it's called.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one.
They really play it up as the chorus drags on. They make you feel like such a badass doing this platforming.
I really never thought Crash handled that well to begin with. That's why I'm not a huge fan of him.
Among other reasons,
In fact,
that are needless nitpicks to make Spyro look better.
I don't. Man, am I not allowed to not just not get the whole appeal of Crash?
Of course not.
Yeah.
Why else would the Blue Coin versus Box Genshin discussion still go on?
I dropped that a long time ago. That's Troll's problem.
I'm thinking of playing, I'm thinking of getting the Insane sometime. I'm just a little busy right now. I only ever played the first game, and I just thought it was alright. I had fun. But, yeah, I can't claim to, be a giant Crash fan. I just think that some of the
I don't get why Galaxy 2 is a rehash, apparently, but Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World aren't. There's a lot of new stuff they did in Galaxy 2. Well, most of the stuff that does come straight back from Galaxy 1 has some kind of twist in it. Like, there is one galaxy called Boss Blitz Galaxy, where you do basically a boss rush of all the bosses from Galaxy 1. Most of the Galaxy 1 rehash stuff is like that. You're doing something with some kind of twist on it. So I like a couple shines.
With Super Mario World, we were dazzled by the new 16-bit graphics. Therefore, whenever I went over to my friend's house, I begged for an SNES from my parents, and then they would never give me one, and it was just a quest to get an SNES. And then it's the same story you hear in every single Super Mario World review on the internet.
So wait, what's left after the shine here? Just
Delfino Plaza stuff.
Oh, is that
we have the last 20 blue coins.
Well, geez, if it's all in the plaza, that shouldn't take long at all.
It might take a little longer than you think, because there are a lot of little things you gotta do, but...
Oh.
And the blue coins might actually take a while, because it's the fruit fetch quests we got a lot to do as well.
Well, then would you say it's okay for me to go take a walk while the sun's still up and come back?
Yeah, sure. Feel
I
free.
already gone like.
Damn it, Nick! I was
40
about to
minutes.
make my dramatic exit.
I don't understand how keeping a core mechanic from the old ones from the previous game makes it a rehash automatically.
And everyone was used to the 3D Mario games always being drastically different.
I don't see what has to be. Like, the level design in the second game is so much better. And so is the soundtrack too, and it's just the graphics look a lot better too. The bosses are the best in the 3D series.
It's
just like everything in there.
Did you say you were about to leave just now?
Me?
Oh, dang.
I did say
Oh.
that.
Looks like I might have to grab Halleck into the chat again.
Oh,
I'll stay here.
I
until you shut
definitely
up.
better get out of here. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I don't want to be away long. I just want to go for a little walk to get some fresh air and exercise while I still can.
Well, I'm going to get going now.
Alright.
I'm not so sure about that, Tristan, because it's like only a few of the tracks in the first Galaxy games were actually fully orchestrated. Feels like the second game got a lot more love out of that, but the real instruments. I really like Yoshi Star Galaxy. I really like the Spin Dig Galaxy theme. I like all the boss themes. The new Bowser battle theme is really good. The final boss theme is one of my favorites ever. Soundtrack in that game was pretty solid. In its best, I don't know, I didn't really like the hub in that game all that much. Much prefer the ease of just having a world map. No, I don't really agree with that, Stash Hand. It's the same gameplay. I really just don't understand. Alright, so now we have, well, let's get the blue coins real quick. Looks like Alex ready to go.